Colonel, is it correct that also you had indicated before this court that the other marks are not clearly visible because of the fact that the barrel was worn out? Can you correct me?
That's correct, ma'am.
That's correct. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. And as a result of that, the marks were not transferred constantly into the test.
That is correct. The barrel is worn out and the slippage also. That also affects the markings.
Okay. Let's just finish up, Colonel. We are in agreement with striation number 1. This is striation number 1. I agree with you that it lines up, it's visible on both sides. And it's of the same width. Okay. And then number 2. Number 2 is this one. We also agree in that one. That is visible on both sides. And then let's go to number 3. Okay, I think we've started, we're working on number 3 before we adjourn.
That's correct, ma'am.
We are done with that one. Okay. And then if we go to number 4. Number 4, it's not clear.
Number 4
You see, Colonel? This is our number 4.
You know.
Do you agree with me, Colonel?
Number 4?
Number 4, yes.
Yes, it's there.
It's not clear.
It's not?
It's not clear. In other words, I'm saying it's not visibly clear enough as number 1 and 2, as I have agreed with you. That we're in agreement, this one is clearly visible. Then when you go to number 4, there's no striation.
Number 4, I will refer to.
I'm guided by the errors. Yes, I'm guided by these errors, yes. By these errors. It's not there, Kenneth.
It is there.
Okay. Let's move on to number 5. That's the 5th striation. Eh? The 5th striation on the right hand side, it's lower. It's a bit lower. Yeah. If you look maybe into your chart there, if you look closely to number 5, it's not equally matching.
Unumber lesihlanu lo aluqondene kahle.
Number 5 is there. It's also visible on both sides.
Number 5 ukhona uyabonakala hlangothi zombili.
But the one on the right hand side, it's likely higher than the left hand side.
Lo ngakwesokudla
Or maybe the thing is
ngahlangane kulolo ngasekwesomnqane.
That one is number 4.
Owesine lo.
No, number 5 is here. That's number 5, according to the marks. Number 4 is the one that I said it's not clear. Number 4 is the one that I said it's not clear.
This one.
Yes, we're on number 5. Yes.
Number 4 is this one.
Yes. That is not clear.
And it's there.
But it's not clear.
Yes, it's not clear. It might be because of the material of the bullet.
Okay.
Yebo, kuyabonakala ukuthi awucacile mhlawumbe ngabe kwenziwa uhlobo lwalensimbi esetshenziswa ukwakha inhlamba.
Okay. Thank you. And then let's move to number 6, which is the 6th tradition.
Asiyeke kwesithupha.
I also disagree with you there, Kenan.
Ngiyakuphikisa.
It's not clear there. It's not clear. You see on the right hand side, which line are we counting as a striation there? On number 6.
Lapha ku number 6 yimuphi umugqa ukuphike lo luphawu olubhalwa njengomugqa.
Number 6 there, because your bullet is spherical in shape. When you're looking at the top part, this part becomes out of focus when you look. So number 6 there is out of focus, but it's there.
It's out of focus.
Oh, number 6 uphumile ku-focus.
Okay, so we agree that it's out of focus. That is why it's not clear.
Siyavumelana ukuthi
It's out of focus, that's why it's not clear on the photo.
No, it's not there, Ken. It's not there.
uphumile
Oh,
ku-focus.
it's there. If you look at it from here, it goes out of focus. Continues that side.
No, that's
I don't
not.
know if I'm used to.
That's not a striation.
It starts.
You can use your water pass.
Let me try it again. It starts there. Actually, you see how
Yeah.
it starts here. Where does that muscle start?
Kenneth, do you agree with me that it's not visibly clear enough, like 3 and 2? 3 and 2, we did not go back and forth. In 3 and 2, they are clearly lined up. You can see them.
It's because they are in focus. That one is not in focus.
Manje uvumelana nami yini ukuthi ayibonakali kahle awucacile kahle njengo number 2 no number 3 athi hayi ukuthi vele iphumile ku-focus.
That's
Sorry, just elucidate for me. These striations, you actually saw them by using the microscope.
Microscope, that's correct, man.
That's the point. You're using a microscope which you are twisting and turning. But here we're using the naked eye, we're using the water pass. But in the laboratory, you're using a microscope, a double microscope.
That's correct.
Yeah.
you know the reason why, Canela, I'm taking you through this exercise. This is an exhibit before this court. This is the evidence that is before this court, which depicts the striations that you were able to see when you were examining in the microscope. Otherwise, you wouldn't have printed this if it's good for nothing. It's not good for nothing. It's the evidence before this court, which must be accepted as reliable evidence. And I'm saying it's not reliable.
It's very much
Ngishoko
reliable.
ukuthi
What's that, sir? I didn't hear you.
I said it's very much reliable.
Okay.
hayi singancika kulobufakazi obulethwa ile exhibit.
And you agree with me that we couldn't take the microscope as it is and put it before this court so that we can all see what you saw when you're doing the examination. You are all relying on this document that you have provided for this court.
Uvumelana nami ukuthi asikwazi ukuletha i-microscope sonke sizoyibona esingiyibona ile exhibit oyilethela enkantolo.
That's correct. You cannot bring the microscope to the court.
Yebo, ngiyavumelana nawe.
And this
Asikwazi
exhibit-
ukuletha i-microscope
And this
la
exhibit is
enkantolo.
called a court chart.
Come again?
This exhibit is a court chart because it was attached to the report that we can use it when we are analyzing the report that was attached to it.
Lena i-chart
It's a good piece. I don't know if that proposition is correct because the defense had an expert. He had the opportunity to look at the exhibits under the microscope. So the proposition that it's only this witness who looked at the exhibit under the microscope is not correct.
No, I'm not talking about the hearsay of who saw what on the microscope. I'm talking about the document that is before court, which has been presented as the evidence. Let's move on for the sake of progress, Kenneth. Thank you. Mr. Sibanda, you can take down. Thank you. You can bring back my water pass.
Look, this has got nothing to do with this case. Just as a matter of logic,
Thank you.
there is an expression that a thing or some aspect is not visible to the naked eye. Have you ever heard of that? It's not visible to the naked eye. Have you ever heard it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
It
think
has nothing to do with this case.
Colonel, I just want to take you now through the integrity of receiving and handling the exhibits at the ballistic. Okay? There is a procedure of receiving the exhibits at the ballistic. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Kukhona-ke indlela yokwamukela ama-exhibit lapha kwa-ballistic wathi yebo.
And in this case, that procedure of submitting and receiving the exhibits was not followed.
Kulokhu-ke indlela esetshenziswayo yokuletha nokwamukela ama-exhibit ayisetshenziswana.
Maybe let me clarify. When I'm referring to the exhibits, I'm referring to the exhibit in issue, in this case, in respect of paragraph 9 of your report. We can go back to your report
Ngale
now,
ma-exhibit avela lapha kuparagraph 9 yombiko wakho.
so that we don't confuse the exhibits. The exhibits referred to in paragraph 7 and examined in paragraph 8 was not accepted, was not received by the South African Ballistic Laboratory in terms of the procedure that is set out in the laboratory.
Lama-exhibit avela ku-paragraph 7 non-paragraph 8 awamukelekanga elaboratory yala eMzansi ngendlela kufanele kusetshenziswe ngayo.
My Lord, it was received properly. If I signed for it at the SAP 13, that's the procedure that must be followed. And I
Right.
brought it to the lab for analysis.
Yamukelwa ngendlela efanele ngoba ngayisayinela ku-SAP 13.
The procedure, Colonel, for the handling of the exhibits from the station, the exhibit will be booked out by the respective individual who is sending the exhibit to the ballistic unit. Am I correct?
Uma-ke ukuthi khona into esuswayo ifanele isayinelwe ibhukwe out okusho ukuthi isayinele ukuthi iphumile la ithathwa khona kunjalo
and sent to the ballistic.
ebesithunyelwa kwa-ballistic.
My lord, the exhibit will be booked out at the SAP 13 by a police officer who will sign the SAP 13 and
Yes.
submit a copy of his appointment certificate
Yes.
and bring the exhibit to the lab.
To the lab, yes. That's where we are. And that did not happen in this case.
My lord,
It happened.
the advocate is talking over me most of the time and I have to complain.
My apologies, ma'am.
So, Mr. Mshololo, are you saying this firearm was never in the lab? The one which was retrieved at Cleveland? It was never in the laboratory?
No, my lord,
What are you saying?
what I'm saying to the witness is that the procedure of handling the exhibits,
Yes,
in this case,
yes.
it was not followed in
Yeah.
respect of paragraph 9, exhibits in
In what way
paragraph
was
9.
it not followed?
Because it was not sent to the ballistic, but it was booked out by the expert who was going to do the same examination, my lord.
Where?
In the lab.
Ballistic?
In the ballistic, yes. Yes.
I thought it was sent somewhere else.
My lord, the procedure was followed, as I said, procedure of booking out the firearm, SAP 13. Must be a police officer, signed in the SAP 13, and hand a copy of his appointment certificate.
Okay, let me,
Manje ngithi-ke mina le yabhukwa ngendlela efanele ngoba lona-ke iphoyisa lisenza lapho kwa-SAP 13 kufanele vele likhiphe ne-appointment certificate yalo ukuthi ikhombise ukuthi ikhishwe yilona.
and after that has been done, that exhibit will then be allocated to an, is it an expert or analyst? To an analyst, ballistic analyst. Am I correct?
Emva
The
kwalokho-ke
exhibit?
kusho ukuthi-ke le nto-ke le exhibit ekhishiwe izonikwa i-analyst ohlola i-ballistic
Who is sitting there at the ballistic,
ohleli lapha kwa-ballistic
or is working at the ballistic.
noma osebenza kwa-ballistic.
The case was already
No?
allocated to me. I was working on the case. So I have the right to go and fetch the firearm. If I'm not happy with the test that I have the right to go and book it out in the SAP 13, come and shoot additional tests if I want to shoot additional tests.
Then-
Njengoba-ke siniwe mina-ke le case kwakuyimina wofanele ukuthi ahambe uma ngingenelisekanga hambe ngiyothatha isibhamu ngibuye ngizosidubula.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have your powers of bending all the rules. I don't have a problem with that. I'm just taking you step by step to say the exhibit, once it has been received by the laboratory, it will be then allocated to a specialist.
Ngithi-ke mina uma isibhamu sesilethile lapha kwa-ballistic kufanele sinikezelwe omunye oyi-specialist lapha.
It cannot be allocated to somebody else if I'm handling the case. It must be examined by myself again.
Angeke sinikwe omunye uma kuwukuthi mina ngisebenza ngalelo cala kufanele ilethwe kimina.
If I'm busy with the case and I see that I need more additional tests to be fired, I have the right to go sign, book it out at the SAP and come and proceed with my analysis. If the firearm was with the owner or was with a private company or something, I would ask the IO to go fetch it so that we can shoot additional tests.
There is no procedure allowing you to do that.
Allowing me to do what?
What you did, what you are telling the court now, to say because it was allocated to you, so you had a right to go and book out the exhibit.
I have the right to do it.
Icala laninikwa wena wawunemvume yokuthi ungahamba uyosikhipha lesibhamu.
And that is the
Athi yes.
procedure.
Athi iyona ndlela ekusetshenzwa ngayo le.
And the procedure is that all the exhibits that are submitted at the lab, they must go through the administration system. Am I correct?
Konke-ke ama-exhibit alethwa lapha elaboratory afanele adlule ku-administration system. Anginjalo?
Am I correct?
No, my lord, you are not correct.
Okay.
Awu-
What's the procedure? What's the procedure of the administration system at the lab when they are receiving the exhibits?
Manje-ke kwamukeleni-ke ama-exhibit umsebenzi we-administration system uyini?
If the case is to be registered at the lab, a new case where new exhibits are to be registered, they will follow that procedure, but in some instances they don't. Like if you're receiving firearms for IB's testing, they are not registered at the case reception. They come straight into the lab, two IBs, and shoot the test, and then they go back.
Nje mawukuthi okokuqala libhaliswa icala laboratory yebo kuyalandelwa ke lendlela le yokuthi kubhalwe lapha ku-admin system. Uma uthi bese siqhubeka nje ngecala akuphoqelele ukuthi iphinde ibhaliswe.
And do you agree with me, Colonel, that in this case, this exhibit was not registered through the administration system?
Uvumelana nami ukuthi ke kuleli cala leli i-exhibit ayizange register ku-admin system.
I didn't have to register it because I went to fetch it and I was busy working on it.
Hayi bengaphoqeleke ukuthi ngiyiregister ngoba mina ngihambe ngayoyilanda futhi bengiqhubeka nokuyisebenzisa.
And if this exhibit had been processed through the administration system, would have the proof of the dates on which this exhibit was received at the ballistic laboratory.
Uma ukuthi ke yabhaliswa kule system yase-admin sasiyoba nelanga le exhibit etholakala ngayo lapha elaboratory.
Well, the proof is there that I have signed for it at the SAP 13 at the station, and in my report I've mentioned the date that I have worked on, of which is the same day.
Hayi unaso isiqiniseko ngoba ngasayina lapha ngisanela ku-SAP 13.
But there's no proof in the administration system at the ballistic confirming what you are telling this court.
Ayikho isiqiniseko asikho isiqiniseko esilapha ku-administration system ukuthi wasebenza ngale.
As I have also already started with the testing of the, comparing the test of this same firearm with my exhibits. So for me to have the firearm re-examined for additional test, there's no procedure that I must wait for somebody to go fetch it. I can go sign for it, come with it, shoot the test with it for further investigations.
Njengoba sensingalile-ke ukusithola lesi sibhamu wangasadingeki ukuthi kube nomunye ozoyongisayindela uma ngisidinga ngangivumelekile ukuthi ngivele ngihambe ngiyosilanda lesi sibhamu ukuze ngizokwenza ama-test ami.
Okay. For how long did you keep this exhibit before doing the examination?
Wasigcina isikhathi esinganani-ke exhibit ungakaqali-ke ukusihlola.
By this exhibit, I'm referring to the firearm.
How long did I keep it before
Before you conducted the examination referred to in paragraph 9.
I went to fetch it at the station. When I came back with it, I shot the test immediately.
Mina ngayothatha e-police station mangibuya ngivele nje ngaso leso sikhathi ngase ngidubula lama-test engiwadinga.
And after that, what did you do with the firearm?
Emva kwaloko wasenzani ngalesi sibhamu?
After shooting the test, it was in my safe.
Emva kwaloko uma sengidubulile ama-test ngisifake esefeni sami.
It was in your safe. So the ballistic was never aware that there is such an exhibit that has been received in the ballistic. It was booked by yourself from the station, not entered in the administration system, kept by yourself in your private safe.
Kusho ukuthi-ke ilaboratory yona ibingazi ukuthi khona isibhamu esinjani ne-exhibit enjani ngokuthi vele wasithatha wena wafika wadubula wenza ama-test akho wasesithatha usifaka kwisafe yakho esefeni sakho.
Not in my private safe, in the labs, in my exhibit safe.
Ngisho angisifakanga esefeni sami sasekhaya ngokuthi ngisho ukuthi
What's the difference? Because it was not booked in the administration system. It was not that no one at the lab could have access to that firearm, to that exhibit. It was in your possession at all material times.
If I sign for the exhibit to work on those exhibits, no one have access to those exhibits. They will be in my exhibit safe.
So you were sitting. Okay. Is that what you do in the handling of all other exhibits? You keep them with yourself?
All other exhibits meaning? if I receive a case, work on the case,
Yes.
after completing the case, I'll hand it over to the safe because I have received from the same safe.
Mase ngiqedile ukwenza umsebenzi ongenza ngifisele esefeni ngoba ngithathe khona esefeni.
Colonel, I put it to you that the integrity of these exhibits, the manner in which it was recovered, handled, received by the ballistic, leaves much to be desired.
Ngifuna ukubeka kuwena ukuthi ukukhusela kwendlela ebephathwa ngayo le exhibit umfika lapha eBallistic khona ukusolisana.
And then
I do not agree on that.
Cha ngivumelani nalokho.
you'll never, because you were bending the rules.
Ngoba phela ukungayilandeleli imithetho ngeke uvumelane nalokho.
No rules were broken then.
Cha ayikho imithetho ephuliwe.
Okay. No problem. I'll leave that one for argument, Colonel. Colonel, let me understand. Are you an analyst or an expert?
Manje umhlaziyi wena noma uchwepheshe.
So that I don't ask you unnecessary questions.
Ukuze ngingabuzi imibuzo engafanele ngibuze.
My lord, I'm an analyst.
Analyst.
It depends on the court to say I'm an expert or but I'm an analyst, forensic ballistics analyst.
Okay.
Mina ngumhlaziyi ngaba inkantolo ngecanga ukuthi nguchwepheshe kodwa mina ngizazi ngumhlaziyi weballistic.
Thank you for being honest with your credentials. Even if you are an analyst, but I know that you have a knowledge of the crime scene, how the crime scene should be conducted, how the crime scene should be secured, you know that process at the crime scene.
Nanoma umhlaziyi ngiyazi ukuthi unalo ulwazi lokuthi ke indawo ke isigameko ikhuselwa kanjani nokuthi fanele iphathwe kanjani.
That is correct, my lord.
Yebo kunjani.
Okay. Colonel, we are sitting with the exhibit here that was recovered from the crime scene, which was not cordoned off properly by the police to such an extent that there are members of the public and members of the SAPS who had access to the crime scene in this case.
Lana ke si le exhibit eyathathwa endaweni yesigameko eyayingavikelwe eyayingavalelwe nokuthi ke abantu ke bomphakathi namaphoyisa ayakwazi ukufinyelela le ndawo angene ngaphakathi indawo yesigameko.
So what I want to ask from you, Colonel,
I'm sorry to be rude to counsel, but if one looks at the photo album of Musia, the scene was cordoned off. I think it's Exhibit C. The proposition that the scene was not properly cordoned off is therefore not correct. If we look at Exhibit C, photo 1, 2, there is a cordon, clearly a cordon there, my lord.
Colonel, my question to you is, can you tell us what is the importance of cordoning off the crime scene, and also what is the importance of guarding the crime scene by the police, by the members of the SAPS?
Awuchazele ukuthi yini inhloso yokuthi ufakwe imingcele kule ndawo yesigameko futhi yini ke inhloso yokuthi isifakwe imingcele bese kuba nonogada abaphuma esiphoyiseni abagada le ndawo.
The reason for cordoning the crime scene is to guard the crime scene or to prevent movement into your crime scene. And guarding the scene is to ensure that the people don't just enter the crime scene without any reasons.
Thank you.
Lapho kufaka umngcele ngoba sizama ukuthi ke ivikeleke le ndawo yesigameko nokuthi ke kwenziwe ukuthi abantu bangangeni ngokumatha ngendlela abathanda ngayo kule ndawo yesigameko.
Yes, in order to prevent what?
Ukuze ke lapho ke kuzama ukuthi kugwenywe ukuthi
To preserve your crime scene,
ukuthi kugcinwe indawo yesigameko ikhuselekile ingaguquki.
And to preserve the exhibits. Am I correct?
Nokuthi ke kuphinde kugcinwe nama-exhibit akunjani?
that's correct.
Yebo kunjani?
And to ensure that there is no tampering, there is no movement, there is no tampering of the crime scene. I think you understand the word that I'm using.
Futhi ke nokuthi ke kufanele kungabi nalutho mhlambe olungaba luguqulwa lapha ngendlela yokukhwabanisa lapha ku-crime scene.
That is correct. Just to reduce the movement on your crime scene, not completely to stop movement on the crime scene.
Lapho ke ukuzama ukuphungula ukuhamba hayi ukuthi kungasabi nokuhamba khona lapho kodwa ukuphungula.
Okay. But then what do you say if the crime scene had been cordoned off already as it has been depicted on the screen, but also you find people that they were able to access the crime scene?
Uthinike ukuthi kwathi nanoma isifakiwe le mingcele kule ndawo yesigameko khona abantu abakwazi ukungena lapha.
Well, it will depend on who's in charge of the scene.
In charge of the
what is
scene.
happening in the crime scene.
Hayi lokhu kuzoncitheni ubani ke onokuziphendelela lapha nokuthi ubani ovumelayo ukuthi kwenzekeni lapha kule ndawo yesigameko.
What is surprising, Colonel, the reason why I'm taking you through this, although it's the evidence that took place before you arrived, it's that on the crime scene where this exhibit mentioned in paragraph 9 in your report, when Sergeant Mosia from the LCRC Springs arrived at the crime scene, he inspected the crime scene. He did not find the bullet on top of the cupboard, and he left the crime scene. There is evidence that there are people who accessed the crime scene, including members of the SAPS, and only on the following day that this exhibit was recovered on top of the cupboard, which raises some concern.
Umsiya uthini ukuthi wafika lapha ku-crime scene wakuhlola akazange athole enhlamvu lapha phezu kwekhabhodi and khona abantu abangena lapha. Emva kwalokho ke inhlamvu esithola ngosuku olulandelayo uthini ngalokho?
I don't know whether it's correct to say that Constable Musia did not find the bullet. You know, he said he realized that the scene is of such a magnitude that he needs help, and that he then summoned the necessary help.
Can I rephrase, my lord? The exhibit was not recovered at the first time when the first police attended the crime scene. I was singling out Sergeant Mosia because it's the one from the LCRC. That bullet was not recovered when the first police entered the crime scene and inspected the exhibit. It was not recovered, but it was only recovered on the following day, after the scene had been accessed by members of the public and the police officers.
Engichazayo ukuthi ke mefika amaphoyisa ngosuku lokuqala awazange akwazi ukuthola le nhlamvu le beka uKelem Msiya ngoba uyena owayekhona ngosuku lokuqala. Kodwa ke emva kwalokho ke ingasatholanga inhlamvu ngelanga elilanda kwaba khona abantu abakwazi ukungena lapha ku-crime scene. Kodwa ke inhlamvu lena iyakwazi ukuthi itholakale ngosuku olulandelayo. Uthini ngalokho?
Malot, it happens in some occasions that when you go to a crime scene, you inspect the crime scene, as Mr. said, inspected the crime scene, and you don't see all the exhibits. The next day, maybe you can, when you start processing your crime scene, you'll see a lot of exhibits which you missed the previous day.
Yenza-ke ukuthi ngosuku lokuqala usufikile lapha uzama ufuna ungakutholi, kodwa ngelandelayo musaqhubeka ukulungula lapho ukwazi ukuthola i-exhibit.
And then, thank you, Colonel. Another aspect that I wanted to cover, I was dealing with the integrity of these two exhibits and the circumstances under which they were recovered, which raises doubts whether they were real exhibits, especially the one recovered from on top of the cupboard, which was recovered on the following day. And also the firearm that was received in an open seal bag and not processed throughout the ballistic system. Okay, do you get my point?
Ukhona ke umngabaza ngifanele ngibeke lana ukuthi ke okokuqala ukhona lenhlamvu le engatholakalanga ngalolu suku lokuqala beyobheka lapha futhi ke nesiphamu esalethwa wasithola sisesikhwameni esivulekile nokuthi ke le exhibit lena ayizange ifakwe ku-admin system yakuzwisa konke lokho.
My lord, I don't see anything wrong in both two instances.
Angiboni lutho olubi ngalezinto ezikhulunywe ngazo.
Okay. Lastly, Colonel, what I want to clarify from you as a specialist, is it a duty of the specialist or it's a duty of any member of the South African Police Service to go and take measurements from the suspects?
Manje umsebenzini wochwepheshe ukuthi bayokala abasolo.
My lord, it depends on what examination or investigations you are doing. If you only need the height of the person or anything, any member from the LCRC who can take measurements can do that.
Hayi kufunekutheni yini esizama ukuyithola kodwa ke uma ukuthi sifuna nje ubude umuntu noma umuphi osenze LCRC angakwazi ukwenza lokho.
In cases where it's ballistic related, you need an analyst or specialist to do the measurements, not just an event.
Kodwa masikhuluma ngezinto ezithintelana ne-ballistic udinga umuntu owuchwepheshe ukuthi ahambe ayokwenza ayokala lento afanele ayikale.
Can you unpack it for me? How is it ballistically related, taking the measurements from the accused person? Maybe this.
Awuchazeke ukuthi kuhambelana kanjani ne-ballistic ukuthi uyothatha ubude bomsolo.
In instances where we have a bullet trajectory, we want to determine the height of a person. Can the person of this height be able to shoot in this position? Then we need to have the measurements of the persons.
Kwesinye isikhathi masifuna ukwazi ukuthi ke inhlamvu lena ihambe kanjani fanele sihlole ukuthi umuntu onobude obungaka angakwazi yini ukudubula inhlamvu ezohamba ngale ndlela.
Because the measurement will be related to the bullet trajectory that was recovered at the scene.
Ngoba ke lokho ke kuzofanele kuhambelane nale nhlamvu lena etholakale endaweni yesigameko.
But how can you be able to determine that when you do not know the position of the person who was firing shot? Because it may not that he was standing. Am I correct?
Lo uzokwazi kanjani ke ukuthi ungazi ukuthi wayeme kanjani lo muntu wayedubula mhlawumbe ubemile mhlawumbe eguqile.
My lord, you look at the position of your entrance bullet wound, the height of the bullet, it will give you the correct trajectory. And you know how this person was standing.
Manje uzobheka ukuthi inhlamvu lena ingene kanjani ngenqebe engene ngalo nokuthi iphume kanjani ngenqebe inhlamvu lena iphume ngalo ukuze ukwazi ukuthi uhlaziye ukuthi lo muntu lona ubeme kanjani medubula.
And then how will then assist the findings? Your findings now, how will that information assist the findings in the findings now?
Manje uma usuthole lolo lwazi ngakusiza kanjani ke ekutheni uthole lo mphumela wakho?
When we are examining now the exhibits.
Well, it assists me in doing a crime scene reconstruction. When you do an incident reconstruction, if a person has been shot, you need to be able to place the deceased in the crime scene, the position where he was and how he was standing. So it helps a lot when you do that.
Lokho kuyasiza ekutheni ngibuyise ukuthi-ke lobugebengu mebenzeka benzeke kanjani nokuthi ke ngikwazi ukuthi wayeme kuphi olimele uma ngelesi sikhathi ke dutshuka.
Colonel, I also put it to you with the due respect that taking measurements from the accused persons is solely the duty of any general member of the SAPS, and you were not supposed to go and conduct that part of the investigation.
Bekakwena ukuthi ke ukuyokala ubude bomsolwa ungenziwa noma iliphi iphoyisa bengaphuqeleli ukuthi kube wena ohamba uyokala umsolwa.
If I had to determine the position of the shooter, not looking at the height of the shooter, I won't be able to do that. And if anybody can do that, the measurements and send them to me, I won't use them. I want to do my own measurements so that I can link that to my investigation or to my trajectory.
Ngiyaphoqelela ukuthi ke ngihambe ngiyozikalela ukuze ngithole lolwazi elidinga ukusenza uma kuthunyelwe omunye ukuthi ayokala lapha ngeke ngikwazi ukusebenzisa le ndlela akale ngayo.
And I put it to you, Colonel, that when you were doing the examination in paragraph 9, you were no longer objective after having done that investigation which you were not supposed to do. You had an added interest. And that is why after receiving the first negative results in paragraph 6, you did not stop. You ended up by going to the police station and book out another exhibit to come and force the results that you came in conclusion in this report.
Ngingekusho ke kwena ukuthi ke emva ukuthi ke uthole lo mphumela otholile lapho ku paragraph 6 waqhubeka waya le emaphoyiseni wayofuna lesesinye isibhawu yokhipha esinye isibhawu ngoba ubusuchemile.
My Lord, I was objective in this matter from the beginning until the end.
Cha bengachemile kusuka eqaleni kokusenza nomsebenzi kuze ngiyofika ekugcineni.
But the fact speaks for itself. Thank you, my Lord. I have no further questions.
Okay. What's the time now, sir?
12:25, my Lord.
Yeah, I know you've got re-examination. I just want the panel to comment because he hasn't been taken through this. For instance, the post-mortem. You went to attend the post-mortem.
Waya yini ukuyohlola lapho bekuhlola khona umzimba kamufi?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
I attended the post.
Why did you go there?
Yindaba wayeyokwenzani?
Was it ballistic related or you were in a frolic of your own?
My Lord, it was ballistic related. I wanted to see the
Yes.
wound and to determine how far was the firearm from the deceased when the shot was fired.
Ngangiyohlola ngoba ngifuna ukuzwisisa kahle ukuthi kuhambelana kanjani nokudutsula kwey'nhlamvu.
And also get the height of the deceased and the height of the position of the wound.
Kuze ngithole futhi nobude bokamufi and futhi ngithole nokuthi ke inhlamvu lena yangena ebudeni obungakanani nomzimba wakhe.
And the clothing which was worn by the deceased, did you see it or investigate it or what is the position?
Iy'mpahla ezazigqoke umufi nazo wazihlola wazibona kwenzeke njani?
That's correct, my Lord. I have seen the exhibit, the clothing of the deceased, and I examined them. They were burning around the entrance wound, which indicates that there's gas that burnt the clothing of the deceased. So it creates, if it's a contact shock, all the gas and the unbent and partially bent propellant pump would penetrate into the body of the deceased. But if it's a loose contact, what will happen is the bullet will create a very small gap between the body of the deceased and the muzzle of the firearm. The gas that escaped from that gap is the one that burned the clothing that the deceased was wearing around the entrance wound.
Well, ngayihlola
This is
iy'mpahla
arising
zesigqoko.
from the court's clarification questions. Any question? About the body post-mortem.
Just one.
Yes.
So it's indicated in the post-mortem that there were exhibits that were taken from the fingernails of the deceased. Are you aware of that?
Uthe lapha ku-postmortem khona-ke okwathathwa ngaphansi kwenzipho zikamufi.
My Lord, I only concentrated on the ballistic related. I didn't look into that.
Cha mina ngaqonda ngqo kuloko okuhambelana neballistic lokunye ngizange kunaki.
No, I thought as a member of the investigating team here from the beginning, you could have had knowledge as to what happened from there. But if you don't mind, we'll ask the relevant people. Thank you. But there were those exhibits that were extracted by the doctor. And they were sealed. So somebody must just account on them.
They could have sent them to biology for analysis, madam.
Yes, that is the reason why I'm saying you will take that up with the relevant people.
Hayi lokho ngabe kuyiswe kwabiology ukuthi bayokuhlola.
Yeah,
Thank you, my lord. I have no questions. Thank you.
No questions, ma'am.
Right. Well, on the post-mortem report, they say they sent them for DNA analysis.
That's correct, madam. They could have sent them for DNA analysis.
Manje-ke okunye-ke badluliselwa lapha kuyobheka ulibofuzo i-DNA